Good evening. Hi, I'm Elizabeth Crabtree with Singmentry, and I've never done one of these types of videos before, but I thought maybe we could have a cup of tea together, because if anyone knows me, I'm like obsessed with tea. Yum. But, you know, something's been speaking to me for a couple of days, and whatever that something is, I'm not going to go into that. But it's a force that has definitely been making me look inward, and that's always a great time for me because I learn a lot about myself. I learn a lot about my interactions with others and how to kind of regulate myself. And hopefully the sound's not too bad in here. I got my little heater going because I like to be toasty at night, and my little puppy dog is on the floor next to me, and she grumbles when I make too much noise at night. She's like the worst old lady, but I love her to death, and she's amazing. So so what I wanted to talk about tonight with you guys is support. And this has really been like in my gut, and just now like talking about it gives me butterflies, because I've really taken the time on to dive into this and kind of look back at old texts that I have from studying psychology, and just to kind of dive in, because it's always good to kind of do this, to self-explore, but also study academics and study experts in the area to relearn something, because you think you know stuff. You don't. You've either retained only a portion of it, or the meaning of it has changed over the years. So it's always good to check in with yourself on these things. I divulge. So I wanted to talk to you about support, and I'm going to go through kind of what I've not like relearned from my textbooks and stuff, and I'll tell you what my takeaways are, and maybe the reason this is speaking to me is because someone else out there in the world needs to hear this. So it's going to be a little bit of time, but bear with me. All right. So let's talk about the different types of support. So we're going to get real basic here, and then we're going to build on it. So there are a lot of, there's like 4 main areas of support. You've got your emotional support, you've got your financial, your informational, and your companionship. And I got a lot of notes here, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking at. And some of these are intangible, and some of them are very much tangible. You can get your hands on it. So let's talk about those different types of support. You have your emotional support, and that could be anywhere from nurturing, someone making you feel valued, showing you concern, offering some kind of love. And a lot of people really thrive on that emotional support. There's definitely a desire, or there's an overabundance, I feel like, of emotional support, especially through social media. And there's a lot of studies on this right now about how we kind of like that's oh my god, the word that I'm looking for, the part of your brain where it's satisfied with things, that part of your brain is activated with emotional support that you receive on Facebook. Now, artists receive this too, and I'm an artist. I can get some of that kind of extra feeling valued by the number of people who like my stuff, but I'm diverging. But that is emotional support. Tangible support, this can be a direct way. Someone literally could be like, I like what you do. Here is some money so you can do more of what you do. Or they purchase something that you're selling. Like my artwork. Then there's informational support. So this literally, I've gotten a lot of informational support lately from people, whether it's stuff about nonprofit organizations, or it's stuff about insights on jobs for certain people that I'm helping out, or they give you information at a time when you need it, and it helps you solve a problem, or it could be advice or guidance to help you, again, solve a problem. And then there's companionship, one of my favorites, and this kind of support is just a feeling of belonging. A lot, it tends to be like social activities or social gatherings and that sort of thing. And you can get your support from so many sources. It can be friends, colleagues, family. Basically, any other human being can provide you with support in this world. And for that matter, animals too. So, but it's funny, I think where people struggle with support is the concept of the balance between perceived support and what is actually received. So your perceived support refers to you and your subjective judgment on how much the provider is offering to you and the type of support that they're giving you. That's your perceived support. Then your actual support is, what they're giving you. And so let's talk about the balance. Let's get a proper understanding of how we're going to look at perceived support and received support. So your support can be measured in like 4 different ways. We've kind of got the setup, the network. So we have your structural support, and this is all of your connections in your social network, your relationships, your club. They form very naturally, and sometimes they're very formal, or they could be informal. And then you have your functions of that support. So these are individual members of your network, and they provide a very specific role or support for you. So this is technically a way to measure your support, because you can use your, but that's more about like the web, the structure. And then obviously you can measure your support by the duration of which you're being received. So this could be something that's just temporary, maybe it's just a one-off thing, or it could be something that's long-term or even seasonal. So there's a lot of factors that go into the fluidity of the sort of support that you receive and stuff. So like a lot of factors, and someone in your life could meet multiple things for you. They could be an emotional supporter, financial supporter, and a companion. They could be just there to be your companion, or they could be just there to be, a financial supporter for like a one-off transaction. So there's a lot of factors, okay? And I had someone who was really frustrated by their lack of support that they were receiving. And so I really was examining that. Like, I understood where they were coming from, and I won't go into details, but they were very disappointed by the lack of support they're receiving. So I tried to see, well, what can I do? What advice can I offer to this person? And, I've got a couple of different areas, a couple of different things that we can check in on when we're just feeling like, someone's let us down, or a group of people's let us down, or maybe we're struggling with being an artist and we don't feel like our following is getting it, is giving back what we should be getting. So I wanted to go over a couple of things, some ways to like check in with yourself. So I would say your first thing to do is to examine what you're already receiving. Okay, like really examine it without all the negative emotions or the disappointment, but like try to sit down and even write it out, map it out, and be like, okay, how am I receiving support today? Let's go through all the ways that I'm getting emotional support, my financial support, my companionship. Let's go through them all and see what I'm receiving, who I'm receiving it from, and how long I can expect to receive, not expect, but how long is it reasonable that they're going to provide that type of support. So if you're getting a lot of emotional, very temporary one-off supports, you don't have a wealth of support. That means your network might be vast, but it's not strong. It's very like thin and spread out. What you want is like this bowl effect where you have like really heavy supporters, and these are your tribe. These are the people who are your true companions. They're going to support you in so many different ways and for so many different durations at so many different times, and they're depthy and they're vast. So that's the bowl of your support. And then you have these high level people who they're great. We need them. We need all the different levels. But if you're feeling a lack of support, let's first get an understanding of the actual bell shape of your support, and let's see where you're at. So it could just be maybe a lack of understanding of the support that you currently have, or it could be an imbalance of like your expected or your perceived support versus the actual reality. Maybe you are expecting something that someone cannot give. Like really think about that. Like, this person you're frustrated with, is it reasonable for them to give you that type of support? Is it within their means? And do they even have to give you support in the first place? Now, I know you know the answer to that question. It's no, they don't. They don't have to give you anything. And that's kind of scary, because we get so used to people relying on people for all sorts of means, and we, as humans, we're social beings, and we create a culture. And I'm always preaching culture, and I'm always preaching lifting people up and supporting each other. But in actuality, people don't have to do it. Kind of, excuse my French, but sometimes that makes them an asshole, and sometimes that just makes it because they have no means of doing it, and they're just self-preserving. I don't know, but you shouldn't expect it in the first place. And if they're giving it to you and you don't feel like it's enough, do they even have it within their means to meet that level of expectation? Probably not. Or maybe you have a lack of understanding of what you actually need. What? I know, right? Maybe you don't need the amount of support that you think you need. Like, you probably can rely on yourself to get your own stuff done, right? Yeah. So examine, like, what type of support do you actually need? You're gonna find that a lot of times there's some stuff that you can just get done yourself. So let's talk about what motivates people to help support you in whatever your endeavor is. Again, this is such a broad topic that really applies to anything, and it was speaking to me, so we're talking about it. People could be reaching out to you to support you simply because they are lacking companionship. They're looking for a community. They're looking for a connection. Or maybe they're inspired to do something. It could be something you said. It could be your mission in life is inspired to do something, so they're going to support you. Or maybe they feel like they're getting something in return. Again, something that they are probably lacking themselves. I have no idea what I wrote here. Oh, they want to make sure that whatever action that they're taking or doing makes a statement about themselves. Maybe conveys a value system or something. But I want you to notice in this motivation, all of these things I just said, what's the key thing? What's the underlining theme in that? The support is about them. It's not actually about you. Right? I know. Most of the time people just support you because it does something for them. That's the honest truth right there. Hey, it's great. It's a mutual benefit, and I'm not knocking them for it, because Lord knows I do it. I'm probably guilty of that, helping people because it makes me feel great. I'm like, I see somebody and they're, maybe I've inspired them and they're like full of energy, and I feed off that energy, and I'm just like, yes, now I'm going to go create something because this was awesome. I love this. That's all support. Guess what? I did it because it was feeding me in some way. That's why people are motivated to support you, because it helps them. It helps them build a community, helps them with connection, helps them feel inspired, helps them to, feel like they're supporting their own value system. So support is about the person who's giving, not the person who's receiving. So what are my takeaways here? Takeaways. Seek inward. If you're feeling like disappointed in other people, frustrated in other people, seek inward first. Whether that's your business or personal relationships. Get a real understanding of the type of support you're already receiving, the type of support people are actually capable of giving, and the type of support that you should be getting. So probably you have a lack of understanding in one of those areas. And this could be even a lack of understanding in the function of this type of support someone is supposed to give you, because you don't understand your own needs. Or you don't understand the duration of the support. Maybe you don't get that it's only supposed to be there for a season, or that support is only fleeting, and you're not going to get long-term support out of that source, or that person, or that group. And again, the support is not about you. It's about them, and it's about whether they can give it. So you got to stop expecting people to give you exactly what you need when you need it for the amount of time that you need. What you should do is you just should keep putting yourself out there. Keep communicating what your needs are, and be creative about it. Find it. If you're frustrated with trying to get support through Facebook, try some other outlet. Try maybe social interactions, a small group or an organization who shares a similar interest. Be creative. Do something different, because your communication system is probably not working right for you, and you need to break a pattern to find that support for you. And that means financial support too. So if you're looking for those transactional financial support relationships, so you can thrive and make money at whatever you're doing, break your current communication style, because maybe it's just not working for you. that could make a huge shift in finding the people who want to support you. And the biggest takeaway is, if you are currently frustrated with your support system, that means you have work to do. Not other people, you, and you alone. Humans are ever changing, so the types of support are ever changing. It could be your environment has just changed around you. That means you have work to do. The process of you assessing and asking for support will never stop. It's always going to be there. It's the basis of all of our human connections. So I hope this helps someone. I'm just another human being trying to figure stuff out in the world. You can put no stock in what I just said. Whatever. But cheers to you. Happy tea time. It's late at night, but thanks so much for listening. All right. Bye.